morning, everybody. I'm Ed Priola. I'm a candidate for the State House State House of Delegates, District 13. In the early 1990s, I helped put term limits on 15 state legislatures, and I'd like to bring that same effort here to Maryland. It's great to see you here in support of this. Term limits go back to the ancient days of Greece and Rome. They're nothing new, to the republics of Greece and Rome. We placed term limits on our presidency via the 22nd Amendment. Before that, it was a tradition. George Washington established that tradition. Thomas Jefferson supported it, and I think it's good enough for them. It's good enough for us. Like you, I'm fed up with non-representative government, the kind we have in Annapolis today. I believe it's time to return to what our forefathers had in mind when they formed our nation. Namely, representatives that would come to the state capitals, serve for a brief period, and then return to the lives they left behind to live under the laws they passed for the rest of us. As I mentioned, 15 states have term limits. It's time for Maryland to do the same, and I hope that by our pledge signing ceremony today, we're going to begin the caucus of what will happen. We'll begin the caucus for the term limit legislation starting in January. Our modest proposal, so it's clear, is it's the same as we have for our state governor, 2 consecutive terms. Then you've got to sit out and live under the laws that you pass for everybody else. You can come back to that office after you sit that one term out, or alternatively, you can run for another office. A delegate could run for a senator, for example, a Senate position, for example, or vice versa. The point is that you get out, you get the experience, you live under the laws that you pass for everybody else. Martelwww, District 12, Baltimore County, and Howard County.
Thank you, Ed, and good morning, everyone. It's my privilege to be down here with you this morning on such an important issue. I want to concur with what's been said this morning, that it was not, in my opinion, the intention of our founding fathers for there to be career politicians in this country, and particularly in this state. That they understood that that people, once they're elected and served a long period of time, naturally lose touch with the people back in their districts who are working and supporting their families in the regular either farming business, mercantile business that they were engaged in. Public service is just that. It's service. And it's supposed to be sacrificial service. And the intention of our founding fathers was that we would come down here and give service for our neighbors, our friends and our neighbors back in our districts, and then having served down here sacrificially, then go back to our districts and go back to our farms, but go back to our businesses, our mercantile endeavors, and let someone else step up and sacrificially serve. However, what has now come about is that we have inside clubs in Washington and Annapolis, because elected officials have become part of the culture, the elected culture of Washington and Annapolis. And what we see in reality is the very thing that our forefathers feared, that they have lost touch with the people back in the districts. And they also lose independence. Now, I'm running for Senate in District 12, which is comprises Baltimore County and Howard County. I'm running against Senator Ed Casemeyer, who has been a senator in Maryland since 1994, and he's been in the Maryland legislature for well over 20 years in service. With the sad indictment of Senator Ulysses Curry, Senator Casemeyer is now slated to become, and has already been named, the interim head of budget taxation. Last night in a debate in Howard County, Senator Casemeyer actually made the statement that we only have a $1 billion deficit in Maryland, and that over the last 4 years, Marylanders really haven't been that adversely affected by the economy. I had to point out to Senator Casemeyer that we got the good news. We only have a $1 billion deficit. We have 220,000 Marylanders who have lost employment in the last 4 years. Our unemployment rate is 7.3%, and that doesn't take into consideration those persons who have been unemployed so long they're not even tracked anymore. We've had 3,000 businesses go out of business small businesses go out of business in the last 4 years. And yet, he had the audacity to say that he didn't think Marylanders had been that adversely affected by the economy in the last 4 years. That shows a lack of, he's not in touch. He's not in touch with the citizens of District 12. Ed Casemeyer he's in leadership under Mike Miller. Because of the nature of leadership, he does what Mike Miller tells him. So therefore, he's lost independence. That's another thing our founding fathers realized, that if you're down here for 20 and 30 and 40 years, you lose independence. So if, as I said in a debate with Senator Casemeyer, if he finds himself in a moral dilemma, where he has to do what his conscience is telling him not to do, or what his constituents are telling him not to do, because he's in leadership and he has to vote a certain way, then I have called upon the citizens of District 12 to do Ed Casemeyer a favor and return him to private life, so that he no longer has the moral dilemma of having to do exactly what Mike Miller tells him to do. So I, Rick Martell, am willing to step up and to be the new independent voice for the citizens of District 12. And I promise that if I can't get done in 2 terms that which I intend to fight for the citizens of District 12, then I'm willing to come back to my law practice, my work, and my family, and let someone else step up and sacrificially serve the citizens of District 12. I'm Rick Martell. I'm running for Senate in District 12, and please check me out at pickrick.org. Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Rick.